fucking body language. Shit, yeah. Okay, first fucking audio podcast. 1 second, let me get my shit together. God damn it. Jesus. Okay, what is up, party people? Oh, damn it, hang on again. Let me get my shit together. God, for an audio podcast, I'm really fucking this up. I mean, it's like takes two components to make this work right. Jesus. Okay, we're good. All right, and we're back. Welcome to another episode of Body Language Podcast. I am your captain, Ty Moore. This is episode 15. It's our first non-visual podcast. It's just an audio podcast. Although it's weird though, because if you're listening to this, you're most likely watching it on YouTube, which is fucking weird that I just said that. I said a few podcasts back that we were going to start doing. We're gonna have a Spotify account, but that's not 100% true. We heard back from Spotify and Apple Music. We need another RSS feed for our Apple Music. I don't think I'm gonna fuck with that. I'm not really gonna deal with Apple Music. I think most people did Spotify anyway. They accepted our RSS feed, but the only problem is that the first few podcasts that we tried to upload exceed the upload limit to Spotify. I was not aware that there was an upload limit, but apparently you have to be a special podcaster to get the fucking extra excuse me, the extra, I don't know, hour or so that they can offer you. Damn, shit. But anyway, so what I decided is that since the numbers have been going good with the YouTube channel for the podcast, that when we hit 5,000 lifetime views on YouTube, or if I make it to episode 50, I will go forth with the Spotify channel. That way you can listen to our podcast without having the little YouTube tab in the corner of your phone or your laptop or whatever whatever you're watching this on. That way you can take us with you wherever you go. But it's just been a real pain in the ass with this RSS feed. And we finally got one. There was some shit that went down that was kind of a pain in the ass. Like, I didn't know about the time limit. I didn't know about an RSS feed. I was not knowledgeable on that. Although being a musician, you would think I would. But I guess having help getting my music onto Spotify and streaming on SoundCloud and shit like that, I had a lot of guidance. With the podcast, I thought it was the same. It was not the same, but I'm learning. But yeah, we're going to start a Spotify channel at 5,000 lifetime views or at episode 50. But until then, we're just going to keep it visual podcast only until 5,000 views or until episode 50. If we make it to episode 50, I will find it needed to have like an actual audio channel and not just a visual channel. Yeah, dude, I've been fucking just annoying myself with trying to figure this shit out recently, but I figured it out. But anyway, on another note, if you notice that my voice sounds a little different, it's because I can't fucking breathe. I've had a awful sinus infection for like the last 3 days, which is why I haven't uploaded a podcast recently. It's only been like 4 days, but I've been uploading them a lot recently since we've released the channel, trying to get a few episodes afloat, get some content. But yeah, man, fuck, I feel like I've had the flu. sinus infection. I had a fever the first day, but today is my first day off medication. I'm not doing any medication, nothing but vegetables and vitamins today. And I'm excited because this podcast, I got myself a little bit of Fireball. I'm going to fucking drink the shit out of it. I've not been able to drink in the last few days due to the sickness. And I'm going to get it right. Get it tight right motherfucking now. Look, we're going to crack the seal. We're going to crack the seal. Yeah, baby. All right. Cheers, Body Language Podcast. Audience, body languagers. Cheers. Woo. All right. Okay, so we've got this new Bill Burr podcast on in the background. How many times? Look, I will give somebody $500 if they can count how many times I say the word like and subscribe or podcast and all of my podcasts combined together. I will give you $500 if you can do that. But anyway, I got this podcast on in the background right now. It's Bill Burr and Bert Kreischer's podcast called The Bill Burt Show. And it's like episode 4, and it's really good, man. I didn't really like Bill Burr until this podcast, actually. I get a lot of hate for that, not being a Bill Burr fan, but I dig him now, so fuck it. Hope you guys had a great day today. It was fucking busy. Me and Jessica worked our asses off. I worked in the rain all day. But yeah, here we are, man. Here we fucking are. I just ate a veggie sub from Subway earlier, so if you hear weird noises in the background, it's not a horror movie. Don't be alarmed. It's just my stomach digesting all of that nutritious, beautiful, vegetable, delectable sub that Subway has to offer all the time. But yeah, sorry about the noises. And sorry the fact that you're going to hear me sniffle like 1,000 times in this podcast. But, man. So, coronavirus, getting worse. 24,000 cases, 900 people, 900 and something odd dead. It's like 14 cases in the United States now. It's gotten worse. People are receiving help, though. They weren't for a while, but they are now. So that's fucking good. But anyway, coronavirus, what in the fuck, man? Like I said last time, do we have little computers in our pockets? Little robots? We got a car that'll drive itself. We got central air and central heat. Modern day men and women don't know how to start fires because of that. Warmth. And we can't fucking figure out the coronavirus? That's bullshit. Oh, man. So, also another political note, Trump is going to maintain his presidency. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't really think I give much of a shit. I probably give less of a shit more than I do to give a shit, in fact, of getting upset. I don't find it necessary to get upset over politics when they don't necessarily affect my front door. Incredibly, quote unquote. But I think it really doesn't fucking matter because November of this year, he's going to be out anyway. America's going to vote him out, man. He had his time. He's going to be gone. And a lot of my friends don't support Trump at all. But then I have a few friends who do support Trump. And I don't know, man. I'm like a little bit of everything. Like all my love languages are a little bit of everything. My communication languages are a little bit of everything. My feelings toward politics and religion is a little bit of everything. Music, a little bit of everything. So it's like I love and hate. I love and hate equally everything. I'm not prejudiced. But yeah, man, Donald Trump's a fucking dipshit and he's going to be replaced. So everybody tripping out about his impeachment basically getting dismissed. Just relax. He's not going to be in there much longer, and he'll be back to fucking creating hotels and fucking reality TV shows. So just chill. Yo, this fucking audio podcast is nice, dude. I'm sitting in my underwear right now. This is great. Don't have to worry about branding. Got my liquor bottle out. Don't have pants on. Fuck yeah, dude. This is a good podcast. Depending on how long this audio cast goes, will determine on if it's a soft cast or not. And for those of you who follow the channel know that the soft casts normally run between 20 and 35 minutes. And it will typically have some really smooth jazz, lo-fi hip-hop up underneath it. But that remains to be seen right now, so who knows? Yeah, who knows? I was talking to my buddy Nick today. Again, for those of you who frequent the channel, he's been on a few episodes. We're actually thinking about shooting a podcast this Friday, another audio podcast, day after tomorrow, at his place. But anyway, I was talking to him today, and I just totally forgot what the fuck I was going to say. God damn it. Oh, yeah. We were talking today about one of the old workspaces that he used to have, and it was in Gulf Shores, and how much he paid was just like an absolute shock to me. I've ran around with the idea, along with the Spotify account, if we hit 5,000 views or we get to episode 50, I'm going to do, really? Somebody's car alarm right now? It's always something. The 1 hour that I choose to shoot a fucking podcast, it's always something. But I've been toying with the idea when we get a Spotify account to maybe also do like a studio, get like a little studio. I want to keep it in my house, but at the same time, it'd be nice to have like keys to a place to where, like when I was growing up, I used to keep all my band equipment in like little storage units that were like $40 a month and $20 a month, like over time when I got older. And now that we've got so much podcasting equipment, so many microphones and stands and like a few different backpacks with cables in them and shit that sit against the wall in our, I guess what you could say our miniature music hallway when we're not podcasting, just makes me think of how good a fucking studio would look. And I'd really like to see what that's like. Although, Nick did not relinquish like all the odds and ends of potential office space that could be used as a studio, but he said it was around like $300 to $400, and that to me, yes, it's a decent amount of money, but it's like a doable thing. So I don't know, 5,000 lifetime views, get to episode 50, and I'll start considering a visionless channel and just straight audio channel to go along with the YouTube channel, and potentially like a little studio space. I also want to get more sponsors, man. That'd be dope. Speaking of, we're going to take a quick little break, a little 5-minute break, and give a shout out to our sponsor. So I'll be back in like 5 minutes. Talk to you guys in just a second. Golf to Go. The most chill, handsome, punctual, quickest, dope, kick-ass seafood, fast food, surf and turf, pizza delivery business between South Foley, Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, Perdido, West Pensacola. If you want a pizza, you want a burger, you want a Subway, don't call waiter, don't call Uber Eats. Fuck those businesses. Call Golf to Go. We have a website with a home phone main number, main app. Give it a call, peruse it, browse it. Our delivery fees are typically a lot cheaper than everybody else's. We don't offer quite as many restaurants as everybody else, but the restaurants that we do offer hit every food bullet point that you could potentially want for lunch and or dinner or a catering party. Give us a phone call, hit us up. We got an Instagram, we got a Facebook, we got a website, golf2go.com. Quickest, most handsome, punctual, smoothest fast food, surf and turf, and pizza delivery on the Gulf Coast. Do yourself a favor and go to golf2go.com. Okay, we are back. All right, man, Golf2Go. Just being awesome, huh? If you guys are wondering what the volume and difference was on the ad to this, I pre-recorded that ad before I got the podcast started. I actually wanted to take an actual break for this podcast, not just like step outside for a second, but actually take a fucking break. But anyway, yeah, Golf2Go, man. These guys are great. I love working for that company. I love everybody that I work with. It's a good company. I wish it was one of those jobs that I know that I could have for forever, but I'll probably, I don't know, at some point I'm pretty sure I'll move on to something else, but I really have enjoyed my last 3 years there and am continuing to enjoy my time there. I told my boss today, I told him I was like, when I'm 43, Olive will be 18, and that'll be the day that I quit. So I'm gonna go ahead and put in my 13-year notice. No, I'm sorry, my 14-year notice. No, that's fucking wrong. 13, 14, it's 15. My 15-year notice. Anyway, we gotta laugh about it. It was fucking funny, man. 15-year notice. He said, yeah, it's fair. Totally fair. Oh, man. You know, I gotta get somebody to make me a mix for these podcasts. You know, the last 3 softcasts I've done, I've used copyrighted material illegally, which means I can't get paid for those videos, which is totally fine. And I always add the mix in the link in description, but it never seems to be enough for artists. I mean, it probably wouldn't be enough for me. And I know some of you are sitting here listening to this podcast who made it this far in who are probably wondering, well, you're a fucking musician, Tyler. You could just do it yourself. And you're right, I fucking could. But I don't goddamn want to do that. Okay? I would prefer another one of my musician buddies to make me something. I feel like when it comes to putting my own, I've done it in the vlogs before. Whenever, you know, for those of you who know me well, I also have a vlog channel that I'm pretty fond of, that I'm pretty into, and I've put my music behind the vlogs before, and it just doesn't like, I don't know, it's weird. It doesn't, you know, typically you'd sit back on something and be like, oh, it'd be cool if I could create this and then put my music behind it and this, that, and the other, but it's just not, I don't feel that way. I feel that way about it before I do it, and then once I do it, I don't like it, you know? It's just weird. It's a weird vibe. But I'll squeeze some of my tracks into stuff sometimes. But anyway, if you're a DJ or a producer or just a badass musician that's not a fucking asshole, hit me up. Let's work on some music for the podcast. At some point, I will get in trouble for using some of these intros and probably some of my softcast mixes. So let's fucking work on some shit. And also, I'm not doing a whole lot of music right now. I'm focusing on the podcast and the vlogs and my job and stuff, and been not taking a step back from music, but just kind of not having my nose up its ass so hard recently. Kind of exercising a few other endeavors. I think it's shot time, man. We're about what? We're 20 minutes into this podcast. Hell, this is a softcast right here. Excuse me. All right, so we're gonna take another shot and yeah, get a little fuzzy. Cheers. I love Fireball. Fire Bleezies. Man, I've already asked you guys how your day's been. I think I already have, but I'm gonna ask you again. Because what fucking friend, what good friend, doesn't ask twice? I hope you guys' day went well. If it didn't, well then fuck whoever fucked it up for you guys. Tomorrow's a new day. You're strong, you're beautiful, you can do it. Don't let whatever got you down today get you down tomorrow. Golly, man, I cannot breathe. I can't breathe, bruh. But you know, I think tomorrow's gonna be like my last day of being sick. I feel like I'm on the tail end of it. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm sorry for all you people who are listening to this in your car that's got really good audio. Every time I sniffle or bump the mic or like hock a loogie, it's probably the loudest bass rumble in your car that you've ever heard, and I apologize. Speaking of bass rumbling, I've been listening to a lot of Netsky recently, which is like I think he's a Swedish drum and bass DJ. And a lot of Every Time I Die, like two total different spectrums, but I've been really into that. Also, the new Mac Miller is just blowing my fucking mind. For those of you who know me, know that I'm a pretty decent sized Mac Miller fan. Or have become one anyway. Also, that's just music, man. What I've mainly been listening to is the American Arts and Culture Review that my buddy Alex and Clay made. They live in LA. They're from here, and they moved out there to do. I know you guys have heard us talk about them a few times on some of my drunken podcasts. They're decently good old buddies of mine. They're great guys. They're very talented, and I hung very close to them growing up. I was always mesmerized by the things that they did, and I've been listening to their podcast recently, and I'm beginning to realize that I'm still just as amazed by some of the things that they do as I was when I was a kid. Like, I mean, shit. I don't think Whit, who is Alex, by the way, but everyone calls him Whit, Whit and Clay could say anything bad about me, dude. I've literally consistently been some of their biggest fans since day fucking one. Good dudes, talented. I've been listening to a lot of that. So shout out to you guys. Can't wait to do the viewing party for Whit's HBO special, the golden one. That's going to be it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be really cool. He had HBO come down here to Gulf Shores. He filmed a special here where he's from, down in Floribama. But HBO followed him around for a few days and got some footage, and like that's just so cool, man. Like he's somewhat living out, not like the particular dream, if that's the right adjective to use for that, the one particular dream. He's like not living out the one particular dream that I want, but just the fact that he's doing something that necessitates attention from HBO or another camera to put together a movie and a special for him. That's just something that I want to do, man. That's why I started vlogging and podcasting, man. I got the bug to want to be in the limelight. I'm not trying to be Brad Pitt or be like Joe Rogan or the next Theo Vaughn or the next fucking Kevin Hart or anything like that, because I'm not a comedian. But you know, these endeavors typically take a comedic outlet, and I don't have to be in the spotlight per se, but you know, for the love of music is what got me on stage, and then feeling that on stage bug is what kept that going, and then meeting people within that realm introduced me to vlogs and podcasting, and then, you know, it just kind of like lily pad one to the other. And yeah, you know, you just learn, I guess. He's living out that dream that I want, sorta. So I'm working towards that. My point is, cheers to you guys, because you guys are great. You guys have always been cool to me. And really excited to shoot that viewing party podcast. And also, thanks, Alex, for letting us do that. We won't have like any visual for that podcast for copyright reasons, because we want Alex to make money off of it. But will be a little bit of audio in that podcast. It will basically be a dual screen podcast where I'll set up the lander mics and the lavalier mics, like basically just around everybody, and we'll shoot basically what would it feel like the first few podcasts that we did, not quite as bad quality, but it'll be better quality, but it'll be shot that same way. It'll be like kind of like it's, I don't know, a bunch of boom mics hanging over everybody while we sit and watch his special, and then we'll just film our reaction and, you know, film ourselves farting and drinking, doing stupid shit. But that's gonna be fun. God, what's my deal with going on to like tangents and like going off to like way left field things sometimes? Like I start one thing and it just it's fucking silly, dude. It's crazy. I think the older I get and the more smooth this podcast becomes, I'll get better at like maybe going into a little bit of detail of myself and explaining myself and why I am the way that I am and do the things that I do. I don't mean to do that, but it just fucking happens. Like it's, you know, like I don't mean to do specific things that need explanation, but sometimes my mind just wanders and I say and do stupid fucking weird shit. I don't know why. Probably go into more detail of that when I get more comfortable with my audience and my audience gets more comfortable with me. I'll probably try to conquer that a little bit. And for all of those of you who, to go back to the bad audio quality that I mentioned earlier, thank you guys for kicking it with us and hanging in there, man. I like, well, I know when those first few podcasts came out, everyone was like, oh, these are cool, this is cool, the audio is kind of bad, but these are cool. And then when we shot those last three, one by myself, one with Jess, and then one with Bailey, and they were just really good quality, like I felt like the sigh of relief from my little audience that I have, and I appreciate you guys hanging in there with me, loving on me, loving on my babe, loving on our channel, fucksing with us. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have, thank you very much. Y'all are awesome. But like I said, content is going to keep getting better. Audio is going to keep getting better. The guests, the drive behind the podcast, the content will always get better, better and better and better. Here we are, episode 14. This is episode 14, and we're doing our first non-visual podcast. Going to do some audios, going to do some visuals. We'll go back and forth. It'll primarily be visual podcasting. But we will do some strict audio. Like I've got a buddy, my buddy Ian, he's not comfortable with being on camera. I'm trying to talk him into doing a podcast now. But I think we've met a middle ground with the fact that we could just do an audio podcast, you know? So maybe for my guests who don't particularly want to be on camera, or if I'm not really feeling like being on camera like tonight because I feel like shit, we'll just do audio podcast and leave the visual ones to a more like guest orientated podcast that want to be on camera. Yeah, dude, Nick and I went, what I was saying earlier, to go back to what I was saying, we're going to hit some more bullet points. He's come up with a few things to help me with the podcast. He's going to bring up, help me come up with like, basically like a format for the podcast. Basically, like bullet points to hit, like top 5 music, top 5 movies, like political section of the podcast. I'm pretty dead set on like the different color segment where we talk about our penises and how many different colors you have on your penis. I want to do the top 5 music and movies. I want to do 30-second rant. That was a good one. And he's going to help me come up with articulate the plan for the podcast a little bit better. So you guys also have that to look forward to. But yeah, man, I'm been having a lot of fun with these podcasts. really just trying to find my footing with it, like what I need to do, how I need to aim these podcasts and where they need to go. I'm still just kind of flicking the mic, opening up my laptop, and just ranting, just talking some shit, dude. Sometimes you just get stoned and you have a shot or two or Fireball and you just want to talk about your motherfucking day. Sometimes you're pissed off about shit and you want to get on here and rant, you know? Like the bio said in on the podcast beforehand, before I changed it. It said a place for parents and non-parents and adults alike to come and get some comedic relief. We all have problems too. Like and subscribe. I changed it, but it used to say that. You know, sometimes, hell, dude, I could look back and like, I don't know, like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years and look back and be like, man, look how gooberish those podcasts were, but they were so much fun. There's like so much open format. Just like hearing me talk in a piece of time rather than it being completely organized, which it'll probably never get too organized. It'll always have some sort of raw punk mentality gate around it. So it'll always be raw. I'll always forget shit. You'll always hear me burp, fart. We're going to talk about dicks, weed, liquor, parties, mistakes, love, comedy, whatever. Music, if I haven't said that already. Music 3 times. You know. All right, we're going to do another drink. Cheers, body languagers. One thing that I am doing, I think everybody will enjoy a little bit, especially for the audio podcast. I'm actually right now, as we speak, I'm putting together a soundboard of things that I want to keep per guest. Like Bailey, my buddy Bailey. And I know for those people who don't, all the people listening to this or watching this that don't know these people, you don't know them yet, but they're very good friends of mine. They're my best friends and you will get to know them as if they're your own. But I want to put together a soundboard of things that I want to have, like I want to have like a fart sound, want to have maybe like an orgasm sound, maybe like a car horn, or maybe Bailey doing his Pepsi impression, and or something. I don't know, maybe like a few Will Smith lines. I don't know, something funny. But I thought that was going to be the like easiest artistic part of the fucking podcast. But I mean, my humor level like ranges so far that it's like there's not enough keys on the laptop and on my phone storage to house all the funny things that I think would fit perfectly for this podcast sometimes. Hey, you know, like I said at the beginning of this podcast, I was watching the new Bill and Bert episode. It's like episode 3 or 4 on their visual podcast. And they don't fucking have mics, dude. They use a mega boom and clip lavaliers. That's so wild. I want to get some more clip lavaliers. I use clip lavaliers on my actual podcast mics when I have guests, just to pick up like other things going on in the room and shit. And it works out really good. But they use one mega boom with like 2 clip lavaliers with no facial mics, no like handheld or like arm mics that you see on the podcast. It's kind of weird. It's like watching it's like not, it kind of takes away from the podcast a little bit, to be honest. I know that's weird because it's basically just like this black dick shaped thing in your face. Most men probably would not want the fuck there at all. But if you're watching a visual podcast or you're shooting a podcast of any sorts and you have a guest, the mic is like a vect of safety. I know it's saved me a lot, like especially when I like get on the podcast and I drink a little bit beforehand and I make an ass of myself but post it anyway. Like there's so many times where the mic just makes it better. And these guys, granted, are professionals, but they don't have mics, and I don't know if it's bugging me. God damn it. I don't know anything about myself when I first see something. I always got to assess it and particularize it into like analytics. Like I got to analyze every goddamn thing. So I just know that I realized it, and I'm my third episode in, and I didn't realize it till now. It's weird. And I also think Bill Burr's been getting like real snazzy with his shoe collection since he's been hanging out with the Shobster and Bert and Tom. Like, he used to talk a bunch of shit about a lot of things that I think he's doing now. I know this conversation doesn't apply to anybody but comedy fans, so we're going to shift gears real quick. So Olive, last time we did a podcast, was sick. She's getting a lot better. I got sick. I'm getting a little better. Knock on wood. Make sure nobody else in this house gets sick. Rowan's made it out. Jessica's made it out. Oh man, Jessica's been so fucking stressed out recently about Olive's sickness. And I know when Olive was like 6 months old, she spent 2 weeks in the hospital with her, and now she's like scarred and afraid that she's gonna relapse and end up back in the hospital. But she's a year and a half older now. She's stronger. She's on steroids. It's just, she's doing a lot better. I just don't panic like that. Maybe it's because I'm a father, but I really just don't panic like that. She has been tripping. But it's been more of a task to be there for her than it has been the baby, to be honest. But she's just a really good mother, and I know she just worries. By the way, this is our episode 14, and she's only been on 3 podcasts. Well, yeah, 3. But you only see 2. The other one's still private because it's just me and Jessica basically just embarrass ourselves for an hour and a half. But I'm really sorry about that. Much like the vlogs, sometimes I just get the artistic rig in touch randomly, and I just got to create, film or talk or whatever. And sometimes she's either asleep or at work or laying down with the baby or showering. It like takes a second for us to be like, hey, when you lay the baby down for a nap on Saturday, why don't we knock out an hour? Or hey, kids are going to be at mom's this weekend, why don't we knock out a few hours of the podcast? Because when we originally started this podcast, we were only going to shoot together when we had time. But much like everything else in life, I fucked it up and suffocated it. Now I'm doing episodes on my own. But I promise you, for all of you who are big Jessica fans and not such Tyler fans, you will see her on the podcast and hear her on the podcast a lot more. Just gotta hang in there with us. I promise. I promise. Also, if you guys hear that noise in the background, I don't know if y'all can hear it, but that's my Juul. I'm smoking my Juul, so don't be alarmed. It's not your phone or your car or whatever. Probably should have said that the first 16 times I hit this goddamn thing. But yeah, yeah, dude, it's been a good day, dude. It's been a long freaking day. Been a long day. Hey, side note, I'm gonna go ahead and cuss fucking Yellow Ball mics out real quick because I could not wait to get those microphones in the mail last month. And I've used them a few times, and I went to use it for the solo podcast today, and the motherfucker, I did a test on it, and the motherfucker had this awful little buzz in the background. So Yellow Vol, y'all need to get your fucking shit together because I've only used that shit maybe 30 times. Okay? Fix your shit, okay? Here's the thing. If you're going to invent something, make sure it works. All right? Because people like me who are middle class can't just afford to replace shit on the drop of a hat whenever we need to. All right? So just, if you're going to invent something, make sure it fucking works. Yeah. Well, I think we're going to wrap up tonight's podcast right now. I appreciate you guys coming to hear me bitch and rant, talk about new things. And thank you guys for loving on the podcast and hearing me talk about work and whatever the shit. We appreciate it. We love you guys. Like and subscribe. If you have already, thank you so much. If you haven't, fuck you. Do it now. Take good care of yourself. We will hear and see and talk to you soon. Be good. Call your mother. Tell you love her. We potentially could see you Friday. This weekend, we're going to Birmingham to shoot. Let me rephrase that. This Birmingham, we're going to Saturday. This Saturday, we're going to Birmingham so Jessica can shoot her movie, My Name is Araya. She's going to break shoot on that this Saturday, one of many, I'm sure, before this movie gets done. We're going to start that this Saturday. So the podcast on Friday, if it does happen with Nick and Kuzma, will be the last one you get probably for about a week. But anyway, like and subscribe. Love you guys. Take care of yourself. Body Language Podcast, episode 14. 15? Episode 14. Out.